If you are trying to complete your ARC trials this week with 3 stars, I will be showing you the best ways to get a good score as a solo raider. I normally run trios for my trials, but wanted to show as a solo raider you can complete these trials with a decent score. Most people won't be hitting super high scores because of the trials we have this week, so high scores will be looking at just under 200k as a trio. Right, so opening arc probes, you want to find yourself on a spaceport during the electromagnetic storm. Basically, you want to run around the map looking for arc probes, looting these arc probes, and gaining the experience from them. Now, there are a bunch of arc probes scattered around the whole map, and some good tips are when you are running around the map, make sure that you're opening your map and looking for the icon. There will be an icon that will display on the screen if you are near one, and you can just simply run over and loot it. Now, when running as a solo player, you want to make sure that you have adrenaline sticks. I would recommend crafting anywhere between 10 to 15, as you will be running a lot around the map for this. The adrenaline sticks are basically to allow you to cover more ground, and if you can cover more ground, the more arc probes you'll be able to find. Now, do remember, if you do find arc probes that are already open, you can loot these for experience too. So just make sure that if you're running around, make sure you're looting these as well. So for the hidden bunker event, this is quite simple during a solos. If you are in decent lobbies or friendlier lobbies, it is way more easier than PvP lobbies. Simply, once you spawn in, you need to find the antennas and make sure they're all turned on. After activating all these, everyone will be rushing towards the departure building to go into the bunker below. I would recommend, if you are in a solo and you do see someone, try using your microphone and communicating. A lot of people will be heading towards this bunker. Once you get down inside of the bunker, you will usually see people starting to form a queue, and you can just join in on this queue. What people are doing is they are trying to activate the console, and you have to make sure that you retrieve the data from each console. Once you've retrieved all the data from all the consoles down here, you can come out with a maximum score of 9,600 points. However, if you are just here to complete the 3 stars, then you will need to do a minimum of 4 consoles. Now, what a lot of people do not touch on is what happens when you're trying to retrieve the data but the console turns red. In this case, do not worry, you will be able to activate this console again. It just means that someone else has activated another console down in the bunker, and that means you have to wait. Now, on this week's trial, we do have damaging Hornets, and the best place to rack up points is going to be on spaceport during the hidden bunker event. You want to load into the game and get yourself onto high ground. I highly recommend getting yourself up on top of the A6 tower. You can bring zip lines and a snap hook to find yourself up here very quickly. Now, as for your loadout, I would recommend bringing in a hole cracker and also pairing it with an osprey. The osprey is going to be useful for sniping Hornets across the map and also falling in any snitches that you see, and the hole cracker is just an overall great damage gun for taking down Hornets. Now, because you are on a hidden bunker, you will have 40 minutes on this trial. So if you can get a good spawn and get onto this tower, you can start killing Hornets and racking up points so easily. Now remember, when you do down the Hornets, you can loot these for medium ammo and shields, and I would definitely recommend bringing in a secondary weapon such as a Venator, a kettle, or a Stitcher, and this gun can come in handy for just clearing any additional wasps that do fly in through the snitches. This helped me out when I've done these trials, and I saved the grenade ammo for my Hornets. If you want to get a really high score on this trial, then definitely would recommend running as a trio and getting your trio to split up. 2 members can go to the A6 building while the other can find another tall building inside of spaceport, and just repeat this process. Lastly, you want to try and take the last exfil home so you're getting all the time in, but just be careful because you don't want to lose out on all the work that you just did. Now, when it comes to delivering Carriables, you want to head over to Stella Montis during a nighttime raid. The maximum points you can achieve is 12,000 points, and here's how you're going to do it. There are 4 main doors in Stella which you have to bring Carriables to. And when you bring Carriables to them, you have to make sure you insert the cells on each side of the door. One of these doors will be in medical, another one will be across the bridge that links the medical area to the main lobby. Another door will be in the main lobby itself and it will connect to the atrium. And the final door will be in the seed vault. These are all the doors that will require 2 cells on either side and will give you 8,000 points if you get all these cells in. Now, for the single door will be back in the atrium in the kitchen area. There is a door in the corner of the room which takes a single cell. Now, after completing all these doors, you should be at 9,000 points, and the final 3,000 will be in the sandbox at the storage room. You have to find 3 cells, bring them over to this door. Once they're all in, that will complete the 12,000 points. Now, the only tricky part of this trial is, of course, if people have already opened up the doors. So hopefully you find a fresh raid and hopefully no one has opened the doors when you're doing your trial so you can get the maximum points of 12,000. Now, when it comes to damaging any ground arc, I would definitely recommend focusing on the bigger arcs such as leapers, bastions and bombardiers. This is because they give you way more points than farming any small arc. For this trial, I would recommend 2 maps. First one going to be a Dam Battlegrounds map and run in between the 2 bastions that can spawn. Or if you have the hidden bunker up, you can also farm bastions and bombardiers at the bunker. There will be 1 bombardier and 2 bastions that will keep spawning in while this event is running. Now, as far as it goes for your loadout, you want to make sure that you have a weapon that does high damage towards arc. I would highly recommend bringing in a legendary weapon or a hole cracker and pairing this with grenades such as trailblazers or wolf packs. Now, you have to be aware that there will be other raiders potentially doing the same trial, so you want to make sure that you are fully aware of where bastions and bombardiers will be spawning in. This will make sure that you will be getting the maximum amount of damage before other raiders can get over to the bastions or the bombardiers. Now, I did do this trial twice, and the first time round I brought trailblazers and I ran a Jupiter, and the second time round I brought in a hole cracker and a bunch of wolf packs. I definitely noticed that the hole cracker and wolf pack strategy was outputting way more damage than the Jupiter with trailblazers. So I would highly recommend, if you do have a bunch of wall packs and you have a hole cracker, using this method will ensure that you are getting the maximum amount of damage onto these bastions and onto these bombardiers before any other raider has a chance. My best piece of advice is just to make sure that you're playing safe and do not get cocky. During my second run, I was hitting a really high score and I managed to run in front of a bastion and I went down, and that score is no longer with me. So just be careful. Well, that's it for today's video, and hopefully this has helped some of you guys complete your weekly trials as a solo raider with a decent high score. Let me know in the comments what score you've hit in your trials for this week, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, raiders.